She sent me a text one night that read, "At my ex's house. His dad just passed away. Don't be jealous." I answered back with a simple, "I'm sorry for his loss." But something about it didn't sit right with me. I went online, checked the obituaries, and came up empty. The next day, I even sent flowers to her ex's supposedly grieving father, who, by the way, opened his own front door to accept them. Not dead, very much alive. And not long after, the ex called me in full-blown panic mode. For context, I'm a 28-year-old guy, and my girlfriend, well, at the time was Marissa, 26. We'd been together for 2 years and living under the same roof for 6 months. The full text she sent me that Thursday night at 9 p.m. said, "Hey babe, I'm at Colin's house. His dad just died suddenly this afternoon. The whole family is devastated. I know it's weird, but he called me crying and I couldn't say no. Don't be jealous. I'll be home late." Now, Colin was her ex from college. They had dated for 3 years, broke it off 4 years ago, and yet he still lingered, dropping fire emojis under every single one of her Instagram photos. I responded with, "My condolences to his family. Take your time." She sent me back a couple heart emojis and said, "This is why I love you. You're so understanding." Still, I couldn't shake the weird feeling. It wasn't the fact she went to console an ex. That part one could understand. Death is death. What really made me pause was that "don't be jealous" line. Why toss that in unless there's something more going on? So I did what anyone with a brain would do. I checked. I pulled up the obituaries in our area. Nothing under Colin's last name, Whitaker. Looked through the local funeral home sites, again, nothing. Finally, I checked his dad's Facebook page. We weren't friends, but his profile was wide open. That morning he had posted about playing golf. Alive, well, and bragging about his swing. I didn't blow up at Marissa right away. Instead, I decided to be thoughtful. The next morning, I ordered a flower arrangement with a card that read, "Deepest sympathies on your loss." Had it delivered straight to the Whitakers' home. 2 hours later, my phone went off like a fire alarm. Colin tried calling me 15 times in 3 minutes. I let it go to voicemail. His message said, "Dude, what the hell? Why did you send flowers to my parents? My dad just called me freaking out, thinking someone's trying to tell him he's gonna die or something. This isn't funny." I texted back, "Marissa told me your father passed away suddenly. I was just trying to show respect. Is he okay?" 10 minutes of silence. Then finally, "I need to call you. I'm at work. Text is fine." This is a misunderstanding. And all I could think was, what kind of misunderstanding makes someone tell you their dad is dead? After that, radio silence. 20 minutes later, Marissa called me herself. Her voice was shaky. "Hey babe," she said. "So, there's been a weird mix-up." I played along. "Oh?" I must have been confused then. She jumped in quick. It wasn't Colin's dad. It was his uncle. His great-uncle, actually. He lives out of state. I mixed them up. His great-uncle passed away. I asked, "And you were at Colin's house here in town because of that?" "Yes, he was really close to his great-uncle." "What was his name?" "Whose name?" "The great-uncle who died." There was this long, awkward pause. Finally, she said, "Samuel." I replied, "Okay, I'll send flowers for that funeral too." "What funeral home?" She tried to brush it off. "No, that's not necessary." I pressed, "It's respectful, Bree." "Which funeral home?" She hung up on me. I went home early that day. She was already there, pacing in the living room like a caged animal. "Lucas, we need to talk," she started. "Yeah, we do," I said. Then she blurted out, "I wasn't at Colin's house." "No kidding," I answered. She hesitated, then added, "I was at my friend Tessa's bachelorette party." I actually laughed out loud. Tessa got married 2 years ago. I was at the wedding. Her face flushed red. "Different Megan. What's her last name?" "You don't know her. Try me." That's when she broke down crying. "Why are you interrogating me? God, you're so controlling." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Controlling? You told me someone's dad died. That's not controlling, that's insane. She shouted back, "I only lied because I knew you'd overreact if I told you I was seeing Colin." And there it was. The truth. "So you were at his house," I said. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" "We were just catching up as friends. But I knew you'd be weird about it. So I made something up." "You made up a death?" I panicked. At that point, I'd had enough. I stood up and told her, I need you to leave. She looked shocked. What? Lucas, come on. It was just a white lie. I snapped back. You told me someone's parent died. You dragged me into a fake tragedy. That's not a white lie, that's twisted. She asked, You're ending our relationship over this? I didn't hesitate. Yes. She stormed out, crying and calling me dramatic. That night, my phone blew up with 82 texts from her, ranging from, I'm sorry, to you're pathetic, to Colin treats me better anyway, and back again to please take me back. I ignored every single one. Update 1. Her entitlement has officially reached new heights. After moving back in with her mom, Marissa somehow got Linda, her mother, to start calling me nonstop. This woman left me a dozen voicemails insisting I was throwing away something beautiful over what she called a miscommunication. But then things took a wild turn. Colin's girlfriend, his girlfriend, reached out to me on Instagram. Her name's Vanessa, and she's been with Colin for 8 months. She saw my name pop up in his phone while he was panicking about the flower delivery. I met Vanessa for coffee yesterday, and the stuff she showed me made my jaw drop. She had screenshots of Colin's texts with Marissa. According to them, Marissa had been going over to his place for closure conversations for months, always when Vanessa was at work. And get this, Marissa told Colin she was practically single because I was emotionally unavailable. The night of the so-called death, they hooked up. Vanessa dumped Colin on the spot, but not before forwarding me everything, including a picture Colin had taken of Marissa in his bed that night, wearing the bracelet I gave her for our anniversary. I sent all of it straight to Marissa with one message. Your mom can stop calling me now. Her response? Absolutely insane. You had no right to share my private information with strangers. That's revenge porn. I'm calling the police. I shot back. You were fully clothed. And Vanessa isn't a stranger. She's the woman you were betraying. That's when the crazy really ramped up. Marissa showed up at my work during lunch, screaming about how I was ruining her life. Security had to escort her out. My coworker Marcus recorded the whole scene, and at one point Marissa actually yelled, I only lied because you're boring. Colin makes me feel alive, but I chose you for stability. The entire office heard it. My boss gave me the rest of the day off and told me to file for a restraining order. But it didn't stop there. That same evening, Linda showed up at my apartment with Marissa and her dad, Harold. They said they wanted to have an intervention. Harold, her dad, started things off with this gem. Son, relationships require forgiveness. I shot back. We're not in a relationship anymore. He waved it off. She made one mistake. I shook my head. No, she's been cheating for months. Linda piped in. It wasn't cheating. They were just talking. I countered. Vanessa has photos that tell a different story. Harold doubled down. What happens between a man and a woman should stay private. I answered. Then keep it private. Don't drag it into my apartment. That's when Linda switched tactics. She softened her voice and said, Marissa's been battling depression. This isn't really her. Marissa latched onto that immediately. Yes, I'm sick. I need help, not abandonment. I didn't budge. Then get help somewhere else. Harold leaned in, his tone getting sharp. You're really going to throw away 2 years over some texts? Be a man. I stood my ground. A man doesn't stick around with someone who fakes deaths and cheats. Please leave. They refused, so I called the cops. When the officers showed up, Marissa tried to spin it, claimed I was holding her stuff hostage. I showed them the texts where she admitted she already took everything the night she left. The cops told them flat out, leave or face trespassing charges. As they finally walked out, Linda hurled one last line. You'll regret this when you're alone forever, Marissa added. Nobody else will put up with your boring ass anyway. Cool. Still not taking her back. Update 2. Things have hit a level of crazy I didn't think possible. Remember how I mentioned Marissa telling people I was emotionally unavailable? Turns out she'd been laying that groundwork for months. Her best friend Paige slid into my messages, writing, just so you know, Lila's been telling everyone you two were basically roommates. She says you haven't touched her in 6 months and she thinks you're gay. That was hilarious to me, because we had literally slept together the morning before she sent me the fake death text. But Marissa wasn't stopping there. She built an entire sob story online, painting herself as the victim of a cold, loveless relationship. She claimed she finally found the courage to escape her emotionally abusive partner. She didn't drop my name, but with all our mutual friends, Everyone knew exactly who she was talking about. Her posts said things like, "Sometimes the person who looks perfect is the one quietly destroying your soul. I wasted 2 years on someone who couldn't give me 2 minutes of affection. And Colin has shown me what real love looks like." She even posted a smiling photo with Colin, captioned, "When you finally find your person after years of settling." Her friends ate it up, comments calling her brave, strong, inspirational. One even started planning a freedom party in her honor. I didn't clap back publicly. Instead, I did something smarter. I built a timeline, screenshots of her texting me, "I love you," the day before the fake death. Her admitting she lied. Her admitting she was at Colin's texts to Vanessa confirming the affair. The photo of Marissa in his bed with my anniversary bracelet on her wrist. The video of her screaming at my work that she chose me for stability. The police report from when her family tried staging an intervention in my apartment. I sent all of this privately to 5 of our mutual friends, the same ones cheering her on in the comments. Within hours, the tide shifted. People started calling her out. That freedom party got canceled. But Marissa didn't back down. She posted that I was weaponizing her trauma and turning people against a victim. Then the plot twist, Colin dumped her. Yep, after all the chaos, after cheating on Vanessa, after Marissa torching her reputation for him, Colin ended it over text. "This is too much drama. You told me you were single. I don't want to be part of this mess." That night at 2 a.m., Marissa called me sobbing. "Are you happy now? You ruined everything." "I didn't ruin anything. You lied, you cheated, and now you're dealing with the fallout." "Colin was my soulmate." "Your soulmate who dumped you after a week?" "He only left because you made this public." "I didn't go public. I quietly told 5 people the truth." "You're evil. You're actually evil." "Okay. I'm going to destroy you. Good luck with that." She hung up. The very next day, she actually tried to follow through on that threat. She called my employer, claimed I was harassing her. HR pulled me in. I showed them all the receipts, including the security footage of her screaming in our lobby. They banned her from the property and even offered me their legal team if she tried again. Then she called my landlord, told him I was dealing drugs. He laughed, said I was the most boring tenant in the building. No parties, no noise, in bed by 10. She even called my mom, trying to say I was mentally unstable and needed an intervention. My mom shut that down fast. "Honey, the only unstable person here is the one lying about deaths. Please lose my number." But the peak of her delusion came yesterday. She actually mailed me a formal letter, printed, signed, the whole 9 yards. It listed terms for reconciliation. Her conditions were, I publicly apologize for overreacting. I delete all the evidence of her mistakes. I pay for couples therapy. I apologize to Colin for sending the flowers. I let her move back in right away. We pretend none of this ever happened. At the bottom, she wrote, "You have 48 hours to accept these terms or I'll have no choice but to move on permanently." I framed it. It's hanging in my kitchen. My friends crack up every time they see it. Update 3. Shockingly, Marissa did not move on permanently. Instead, she rebounded straight into dating Colin's best friend, Ryan. Yeah, you heard that right. She's now with the best friend of the guy she cheated with. Ryan even reached out to me on Instagram. He wrote, "Hey man, just wanted to say there's no hard feelings. Bree told me everything about how you two were basically just roommates and how you emotionally neglected her. I'm glad she's free now." I sent him a photo of the framed terms for reconciliation letter with the caption, "Does this look like something someone would send to a roommate?" He blocked me on the spot. But here's where karma served dessert. Remember Vanessa, Colin's ex? She and I actually became friends through all this madness. She works in HR at a big company downtown. Guess who applied for a job there? Marissa. Now, Vanessa's professional. She didn't sabotage anything. But she did give the hiring manager a heads up about Marissa's track record of fabricating deaths and blowing up workplaces with drama. Marissa didn't get the job. Later, when she found out Vanessa worked there, she threatened to sue her for defamation and career sabotage. Vanessa's response to Marissa's threats was perfect. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. Also, I have screenshots. Meanwhile, Ryan was getting his crash course in what dating Marissa really meant. She was blowing up Colin's phone under the guise of closure. At the same time, she was messaging me, saying she'd made a mistake. Then she went full speed with Ryan. She told his mom they were planning to get engaged after 5 days of dating. She even changed her Facebook relationship status to engaged to Ryan and started building wedding boards on Pinterest. Ryan lasted a grand total of 9 days. Then he called me, sounding exhausted. Dude, I'm sorry. You were right. She's insane. Apparently, the breaking point was when Marissa tracked down Ryan's ex-girlfriend, who lives in another country and hadn't spoken to him in 3 years, just to warn her to stay away from her man. So once again, Marissa was single. And this time, she went nuclear. She launched a whole blog called Dating While Healing, where she wrote post after post about her journey from emotional abuse to freedom. Every single entry was about me, though she swapped out names. She painted me, Nathan, as some controlling narcissist who cut her off from friends and chipped away at her self-worth. The blog actually got traction in certain online circles, and strangers who didn't know the real story started sending her sympathy. That didn't last long. Vanessa and I put together our own website, The Real Story. It laid everything out. Screenshots, timelines, photos, police reports. We didn't blast it out publicly. We just quietly shared the link with anyone who asked about Marissa's blog. Not long after, her site went private. Final update. Turns out the universe does have a sense of humor. Last week, I ran into Colin's very much alive dad at the grocery store. He spotted me immediately and grinned. You're the flower guy. We had a good laugh about it. Then he added, that girl your ex was seeing my son about. She's trouble. She kept calling our house at all hours, crying about some Ryan fellow. My wife finally blocked her number. Not our problem anymore. I told him, smart move. You know, she once told my wife you were abusive. When my wife pressed for details, Marissa said you were emotionally abusive because you didn't notice her new haircut once. We both cracked up right there in the produce aisle. But here's the kicker. That same night, Marissa sent me one last email. The subject line read, you won. The email itself said, asterisk, I hope you're happy. You've turned everyone against me. Colin won't talk to me. Ryan blocked me. Even my own friends think I'm crazy now. My mom says I need therapy. My dad won't pay for my apartment anymore because he says I need to learn accountability. You destroyed my life over one lie. One lie. I was only trying to spare your feelings about Colin. I could have cheated without saying anything, but instead, I tried to be considerate by making something up. Now I'm moving back to my hometown. I have to live with my parents at 26. I have to take a job at my uncle's insurance company because nowhere else will hire me. You ruined everything. I hope karma gets you. Asterisk. I wrote back. Karma already got someone in this situation. And it wasn't one lie. It was months of lying, cheating, manipulating, and harassing. Good luck at the insurance company. She replied instantly, I hate you. I didn't bother responding. As for me, I'm doing just fine. I started seeing someone new. Claire, a girl I met at my climbing gym. She knows the whole saga and actually jokes about it. Anytime she wants to skip a boring dinner, she laughs and says, sorry, can't make it. My goldfish died. Vanessa's dating someone new, too. We all went on a double date recently, and surprisingly, it wasn't awkward at all. Oh, and remember those flowers I sent to Colin's dad? The ones that started this whole circus? His wife dried them and still keeps them in a vase because, as she put it, they're too nice to throw away and it's such a funny story now. Even Colin reached out once. Sent me a message saying, sorry for all the drama, man. I didn't know she was that crazy. I left him on read. Linda, her mom, still texts me every so often about how I broke her daughter. I've never replied. Harold, her dad, actually sent me a LinkedIn request last week with the note, no hard feelings, son. Business is business. No clue what he meant. I declined. And Marissa? According to social media, she's back in her hometown, working at her uncle's state farm office, posting inspirational quotes about phoenixes rising from the ashes and never looking back. Her most recent post said, sometimes the universe removes people from your life to protect you. Thankful for the lessons. Comments were turned off. For anyone who thinks I was too harsh, here's a reminder. She lied about someone dying. She cheated for months. She tried to wreck my job, my reputation, even my family relationships. She dragged her parents into my apartment for an intervention. She built an entire blog smearing me as an abuser. All I did was tell the truth. I let her face the consequences of her own actions. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just stepping aside and letting someone live with the fallout of their choices. So thanks for sticking with me, Reddit. I'm off to enjoy my boring, drama-free, death-free life. Edit, since people keep asking. Yes, the insurance company is Linda's brother's. Apparently, he told Marissa she has to work there for at least a year to learn the value of hard work and honesty. He even makes her cold call leads for character building. Edit 2. For everyone calling Claire a rebound, we're taking it slow. She knows the full story. In fact, she insisted we wait a few months before making things official because, in her words, anyone who lies about death definitely leaves behind some damage. She's in therapy. I'm in therapy. Honestly, everybody's in therapy. It's great. Edit 3. Colin's mom messaged me on Facebook to say Marissa drove past their house last week. Slow and creepy. They're thinking about getting a restraining order. But hey, the flowers are still in their living room. At least something good came out of this whole mess.